Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rogers Kakasungura YouTube channel. We are moving at a recommendable pace, and I thank each and every one of you for your continued support. May God really bless you. We have a channel that deals 100% with charity. Just go to YouTube, Brother Rogers, ama angalia hapo kwa comment section. Nimeweka link, nimepin link, then follow. Kwa wale ambao mnahisi kwamba we need to do charity, follow that link. Tulifanya last year, but your channel it deals with only charity work, so follow that link, tupatane huko. Yesterday Raila Molo Odinga made some declarations, and I want to give you 8 powerful points before I move to the demands. I want to give you 8 powerful points raised at Kamkunji yesterday, why the Kenya Kwanza government must go home as early as yesterday. Raila Odinga made himself very clear on this. Number one, Raila says William Ruto stole an election that belonged to someone else, who is Raila Odinga. For that reason, Raila says William Ruto must go home. Why? He is an illegitimate president. They cannot recognize a leader who is not supposed to be where he is. So Raila doesn't recognize the presidency of William Ruto. And in that beliefs, because he stole an election that didn't belong to him, he must vacate State House and go home. Point number 2. Raila says Ruto is pretending to fish criminals out of government. But in real sense, Ruto is eating, is walking and worshipping with criminals who have been charged in court. So Raila says Ruto's government is a crime scene. It's not a government anymore, but a crime scene. He is working with the criminals who have been charged with murder, who have been charged with corruption, who have been charged with robbery, with violence. These are the people William Ruto is working with, as per Raila Odinga. In that regard, Raila says William Ruto must vacate State House. Raila says the Kenya Kwanza government is applying the law on the poor, while the rich criminals, while the rich thieves are being promoted to the position of permanent secretaries and the cabinet secretaries. 90% of Ruto's government are people who have cases in court which were thrown out without any reason. So Raila feels the Kenya Kwanza government believes the law is only applicable to the poor, while they keep promoting the thieves and criminals. Point number 3. During the campaigns, and this one all of you saw, William Ruto promised to unveil a government of the poor. Hii serikali inakuja tunajenga na mama mboga. Hii serikali inakuja tunajenga na bodaboda. Hii serikali inakuja tunajenga na mtu ya wheelbarrow. Hii serikali inakuja tunajenga na mtu ya chini. That was the message during the campaigns. Ruto promised to unveil a government of hustlers. But after taking power, Ruto unveiled a government of tycoons. You saw during vetting. What is your net worth? 4 billion. What is your net worth? 2 billion. What is your net worth? 10 billion. What is your net worth? 20 million. What is your net worth? 10 million. What? Yani, the cabinet secretaries were millionaires. Now Raila says because of hoodwinking. Which English is this, by the way? Mtu anatafutia dictionary. What is to hoodwink? Kaka sijui mbona kizungu yangu ina flow mzito ile imeenda shule. Wacha nitumie Kiingereza inaeleweka. Hata hoodwink mimi hata sijui maana, imejileta tu. Instead, you know, okay, how can I put this, man? William Ruto brainwashed. Yes, that is the right English. Hiyo inaeleweka. He brainwashed. He lied. He conned hustlers. Aliwadanganya ataunda serikali na wao. Baada ya kumpigia kura akaweka backbencher. Mliona wakati Ruto alikuwa anaenda when he applied as the Kenya Kwanza flag bearer candidate, alienda na wengine. In that meeting, when papers zake zilikuwa kwenda verified, alibeba mtu ya bodaboda, alibeba mama mboga. You saw them in pictures. But after winning, the swearing in, we never saw mama mboga, we never saw bodaboda. Hakukuwa na mtu. Kwa cabinet hakuna. Kwa permanent secretary hakuna. Nobody. So Raila believes William Ruto conned hustlers. And in that regard, he must vacate statehouse. Point number 5. Ruto is milking the poor to feed the rich. Gachagua alikuwa na kesi ya 200 million. Baada ya kukuwa deputy president, he has been refunded the cash. And then Kenyans will toil to pay the damages. They are imposing high taxes to Kenyans to fund their weekly church services, to fund their tours, to fund in fueling their cars. So Raila says William Ruto is pressing Kenyans with high taxes to feed the rich. And in that sense, he must vacate office and go home. Point number 6. Instead of Ruto pushing hustlers from or away from poverty, Ruto is pushing hustlers into poverty. Unajua wakianza kampeni wasema pesa mfukoni. Pesa kwa hustlers. Pesa kwa mamamboga. Now instead, they are taking away the cash from the poor. So instead of pushing people away from poverty, the Kenya Kwanza government is forcing people into poverty. People were eating 2 loaves of bread are now eating 1 because of poverty. People who could fuel 10 liters of their car, they are now fueling 5 liters because of poverty. People who could buy 2 kgs of sugar are now buying 1 because of poverty. Point number 7. Ruto is a dictator. So a democratic nation like Kenya doesn't need a dictator. So Raila believes Ruto is in a wrong office. He should be a president in Tanzania and Rwanda, not in Kenya. That is what Raila says. Point Point number 8. Ruto is corrupt. The entire government is corrupt. And he has appointed people, and he has appointed corrupt people into government positions. So in that, Raila believes William Ruto must go home. Now, these are the demands from Raila Odinga. Demand number 1, Ruto must get the International Monetary Fund out of Kenya. It has messed us, it messed us, and it's messing us again. That's what Raila says. So according to Raila, demand number 1, IMF must go. Why? It is planning to bury the Kenya's economy. It did before and it's doing again. Demand number 2, Ruto must get the high taxes out of the backs of Kenyans. Point number 3, Ruto must stop appointing a referee single-handedly. A referee in this case is the IEBC chairman. Wafula is retiring and Ruto wants to appoint a new chairman single-handedly without consultations. In that must stop. The last demand, IEBC must go. The current IEBC must go. And the option to this is IEBC must be decentralized. Kila county ikuwe na IEBC instead of putting IEBC in one central point, that is Nairobi. Lazima ikuja mashinani and parties be allowed to propose their members into the electoral agencies. That's what Raila says. That is a demand from him. So yesterday was a meeting to warn the Kenya Kwanza government. If they will not heed to the demands, then Raila says they will be forced to march 8 million march to statehouse and kick out Ruto, him in person, and the 8 million supporters who voted for him in the 2022 August general election. So Raila says Ruto has no option. Lazima aende nyumbani. Kwa nini? He is an illegitimate president. Kenyans of goodwill, I've urged you and I will repeat. This is the time for us to wake up and save the coming generation. Our grandchildren, our children want a better life free of dictatorship. And the only time is now. Hakuna wakati mwingine. If we fail to do it now, trust me, we will have answers. We will lack answers to give our coming generation. Tutakosa majibu ya kueleza kizazi chetu kinajokuja. Our children will come to ask us questions. Mulikuwa wapi when this was happening? Our great grandchildren will ask us questions. Nyinyi mulikuwa wapi wakati hawa watu walikuwa wanaendesha serikali kidikteta? Mulikuwa wapi? Na tutakosa majibu. Lakini tunapoyafanya haya yote, tukumbuke kwamba Kenya ni yetu. Tuna jukumu la kuilinda na kuitetea, kwa sababu sisi tunapita lakini Kenya itabaki. Mwenyezi Mungu awabariki.